Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo, set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flies, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I'm
Well, good morning, my beautiful coffee beans. Come on in and sit on down. Don't forget your cup of coffee or your beverage.
Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
not. You didn't die doing it. All right, guys, it's nice to see you. As many of you know, Saturday is one of our earlier days. I know for many of you, you guys are like, really? On a Saturday morning? Yes, on a Saturday morning. Because I don't go out to the bars and party and stay up until ridiculous times of the morning. I'm in bed like 6:37, except last night I was maybe 8:30, right? I'm one of those old people, okay? I'm an old person now. And I go to sleep really, really early, and I get up ridiculously early, and then I work from ridiculously early until the cameras come on now, right? But today, as many of you know, Saturday is Delilah's Day. So we kick off our show early so we have time to do everything. And remember, guys, we still have another show tonight because I am now committed to making sure we have a Saturday night show. I know usually I'm exhausted because I'm up at 3 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday. By the time I go take Delilah over to her play date and play there until like 6:30 at night, I've already been up for like 15 hours, right? And then to come here and try to do a show for another 2 hours, it's a little hard on me on a Saturday, right? Saturday is like a work day for me, okay? It's like the longest work day I have of the week. But at the end of the day, Saturday, you guys like to be online, and I am not. So we're committed to doing a Saturday evening show. Is it going to be 6? Is it going to be 7? Is it going to be 8? It's a time that I can commit to on Saturdays. So I think I'm going to push it out a little later because sometimes I come back from my friend's house, my best friend's house, like around 6:30 at night. I need to set up the live. So I'm thinking like 7:30, 8 o'clock on a Saturday night. So we'll see what ultimate time I ultimately select for the Saturday evening. So if you guys miss me in the morning, don't worry. You'll have a live broadcast in the evening, but don't forget to hit the replay crew. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. If you're here for the first time, hit that subscribe button so you can chat. This is the coffee club. All those little colors in that chat are people that come here every day to talk about these cases. So it is Saturday morning. There's not a lot of people up at, 7 o'clock in the morning, but it's, 7:48. I don't know where you guys are at. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. Come on, folks, get up. Just in divine time. Vicki, it's nice to see you. Let me go up here and say hi to everybody so we can get started because, as you know, I'm going to probably be moving through a lot of this stuff very, very quickly. So, Melanie, it's nice to see you. Good morning, Betty and Delilah. Oh, it's so cold there. She says it's -2 degrees. I'm feeling for you. Guys, don't worry. You guys are going to be laughing at Betty because Monday it's starting to rain. We're going to have a huge front move in. Monday and Tuesday is supposed to be the coldest day. Of course, Tuesday and Wednesday are the coldest days that we have here in Florida, at least in my area. And it's getting down to almost freezing temperature. Not quite, but almost freezing temperatures. And then we have, I'm in the county both of those days. Like, usually our land use meeting's not until Thursday, but they pushed it on Wednesday. So I'm going to be freezing my ass off on Tuesday and freezing my ass off on Wednesday. And I don't mind it usually when it's freezing cold because I usually work from home and I have my heater and I can stay nice and warm. But no, okay, if you know anything about county buildings, you never get to park where the building is, okay? You always have to park way out there in BFE, okay? And then you've got to walk, okay? And you're talking about walking with a briefcase. It's not quite a briefcase. It's, but it has my computer in it, my phone, my paperwork, my notes, my stuff that I'm going to be talking about. I've gotten to the point where I really don't need scripts at the county. I just have bullet points. I know what I'm going to say about each thing. And I fill up my time to speak. That's kind of what I do. And so it's the walking process. It's the walking from the car to the building that I have a problem with. And it sounds a little cold to me. It sounds a little too cold to me, okay? I'm not with all this cold weather. I'm a Floridian, okay? If you don't know what a Floridian is, it's kind of like a person that likes to sleep in hot lava, okay? It's a person that likes to sleep in hot lava and then complain about sleeping in hot lava. That's a Floridian for you, okay? Just to put it down to 5th grade level. Sonia, it's nice to see you. Bullhorn Betty's obviously present. Denise, it's nice to see you. Barbara, Barbosa and Football Mom. Good morning, ladies. Carol, it's nice to see you. Good morning. Good morning. Aw, Melanie, thank you for the super chat. She says, happy Saturday. Betty, Delilah, Mods, and Chad. I hope everyone stays warm and safe for the winter storm. Much love to BHB and everyone. Oh, thank you. Much love to you as well. Guys, I do want to remind you that it is very cold. As many of you guys know, you're much further north than Old Betts here, okay? I'm kind of sitting right now, and don't let me make you guys jealous, but I'm going to make you guys jealous. I'm sitting in 60-degree weather at this time of my life, okay? So we're in the 60s while you guys are in the negatives, okay? I'm kind of feeling fine till next week, of course. So as you know, it's pretty cold out there, and there's a lot of people, because of our economy, because of our environment, that don't have anything. People that once had a home and a roof over their head are sleeping in their cars or sleeping on the streets, okay? Our economy has been brutal. And then we find out that the money that was supposed to be used for these people were stolen and sent overseas. So very disheartened, very upset, very angry. But at the end of the day, it doesn't change the facts of where we're at in this country. And those people that had their benefits stolen from them still need benefits. So this is my kind of call out to humanity. If you are out there, doesn't matter which state you're in, if you have extra socks, if you have extra blankets, if you have extra coats, if you have the ability to go buy them and donate them. Right now, we're going through a brutal winter. I anticipate people are going to lose their life out in the woods, out in other places, because they're not able to keep themselves warm enough. And if we can just save one person's life with an initiative like, going and helping and donating some socks and jackets and blankets and, other hygiene items, if we can just get a few people around this country to do that, just imagine how much better this winter will be for someone. We can't save everyone. That's not my drumbeat. But we try to save as many as we can, right? And so it takes an army. And the good news is we're online, right? So we can reach and touch a lot of different people in a lot of different places. So if you're in a lot of different places, maybe you can participate in this, this operation we're doing, Operation Homefront. Let's call it Operation Homefront. Okay, we're going to call this Operation Homefront. Operation Homefront for Bullhorn Betty is going to be you guys going through you guys need to clean out your crap anyways. You got too much shit, okay? If you don't know you got too much shit, Old Bet's telling you got too much crap, okay? Go through your stuff, okay? You got extra jackets. You got extra comforters and blankets and sheets and crap you don't need, okay? It's time for you to put them in a bag, take them to your nearest Salvation Army, Goodwill, or homeless community, okay? Some people, you guys, like Miss Ann, God bless her soul, she collected a lot of stuff. So she was able to pack up bags and bags and bags and go into homeless encampments and drop off bags of stuff. So anyways, I'll leave that up to you guys on how you guys are going to do it, but please participate in Operation Homefront. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Sonia, it's nice to see you. Kimberly, good morning, love. I hope you are doing well. And we got Sandwich up in the house. Good morning, Sandwich. Vicky up in the house. Hey, Vicky. Hey. Who else do we have? Ooh, I just jumped all over the. Ooh, I missed all kinds of people. Guys, wait for me. My thing moved up. I was at Sandwich. Hold on, let me find where I was at Sandwich. There's Lisa. Lisa, hello. Good morning, Lisa. And I said Barbosa. Good morning, Barbosa. Kimberly, I said hi to you. Who else am I missing? Sweetie Pie. Hey. Good morning. Hey, you guys are lucky. Our temperature's here to is 100. You guys are hot? Oh, are you in Australia? Is Sweetie Pie Australia? Sweetie Pie, are you Australia? Good gracious. Excuse me. Good gracious. 113 degrees. You guys sound like freaking Texas or Arizona. Woo, that's hot. That's hot. But in all fairness, Sweetie Pie, in all fairness, there are some people that are in below degrees here, freezing below, right? And they would absolutely exchange with you, at least for temporary. at least for temporary, until they realize how hot 113 degrees is. Then they're going to want it back. Inga, it's nice to see you. Good morning. Yes, South Australia. Oh, bless you. Bless you. I guess it's time for a little ice. No pun intended. I should stop. I've already had coffee. I've been up researching the crap. I've read 100 cases this morning. I really have. Because, you have to give up. You got to look for updates on all your cases, right? We have a lot of different cases that have been resolved, but still have a lot of generators all set. All good. At least some people are getting it together. The real Me Too, it was 75 here yesterday and 50 outside right now. Yeah, it's going to be dropping. It's going to be hitting here Monday. So I can imagine if it's in Tennessee and, it's just coming straight down. That's what's happening. It's starting up here. The cold's freezing up here. And there's no place for that cold air to go. So it's just going like this over the United States right now. And by Monday, it's going to be down here, over here in Florida. Maybe we should do it over here in Texas. But it's not over here. It's going to be over here in Florida. 25 inches of snow, too cold. Yeah, I heard Mr. and Mrs. Z, they had to cancel one of their lives that they had set up so they could prepare their house. They were expecting like a foot of snow. I'm like, oh, good gracious. Well, all you guys in those winter states knew what you guys were signing up for. Okay. I have never had a snow shovel in my life. Just to let you know. I never snow shoveled anything. I don't even know if I know I've seen a snow shovel. I've had to see a snow shovel at my uncle's house in Georgia. And that was when I was younger. So yeah, none of us had none of that stuff. That stuff. Anyways, good morning. Hey, Michelle, it's nice to see you. Doris, good morning. Good morning, ladies. So, good morning, friends. Welcome back to the Coffee Club. As you know, I am here, babe. I am the love machine. Bullhorn Betty. Today, it's going to be pretty heavy, but it's necessary. We're going to be moving quickly through several of the updates that we do have. And these cases involve children. We've got to really use 5th grade words for this case. It's deplorable. You guys are going to be very, very upset. And it's not what you think. We'll get into it. Corruption, violence, failures of leadership. And then we're going to slow way, way, way down and dig into 2 major stories that are driving today's headlines. And that's Murdaugh and Bryan Kohberger. So I want to be very clear at the onset. This show is about truth, justice, and protecting the innocent. And it makes some people uncomfortable. So be it. Scripture tells us in Isaiah, woe to those who call evil good and good evil. We're not doing that here. So let's get into the updates. I'm going to start moving some fairly through these pretty good. I think we know right now everybody in the United States of America is freezing their bums off. So no, I need to get over to the other side. There we go. So this little peach right here is disgusting. Okay? She's a teacher of 5th graders. Let me repeat that again. She's a teacher of elementary school students and a teacher in the 5th grade elementary school. Okay, let me hold on a second. Let me make sure you guys got it. Are you guys listening all the way in the back? Can you guys hear me all the way in the back? I'm not sure if you can hear me all the way in the back. This cupcake here is a teacher in an elementary school. And our pupils are 5th grade students. Okay. Now that you guys know who she is, this cupcake, Sydney Gaff, is disgusting, deplorable, despicable. Now, granted, she is entitled to due process. But I have to tread very, very, very carefully here because we are on YouTube. And YouTube is extremely sensitive to these types of stories, as you know. But parents need to hear this. As you know, we have been talking about some of the issues that I perceive as horrible issues going on in our schools. We have replaced a lot of the good teachers with social justice warriors in the classroom. And these social justice warriors are mentally insane, okay? I don't know if you've seen some of them. They got purple hair, tattoos, piercings. They look like freaks, and they're teaching our children. Okay, once upon a time, we had a standard code for our teachers. That means you had to look a certain way, you had to dress a certain way, and you had to have an appearance of professionalism. Okay? So if anybody's offended because I don't like tattooed, pierced, purple hair assholes teaching our children in this country, so be it. Okay? I've been called a lot of things. I'm sure you can find clever words to call me. Okay? At the end of the day, it's the truth. And many people may not want to say it. Many people may be scared of being called horrible names. By far, I'm not one of those people. So I'll say what you guys believe in your back of your heads that you guys can't say. Either because you're around a bunch of PC people, or it's just the environment. And it's okay. You're allowed to be in an environment, and you have to live in comfort in that environment in which you live. So I'll speak for you, and I have no problem doing that. I do that all the time, every day. But this chick here, according to reports, the teacher has been charged for allegedly hurting a child's private area. This was not an accident. This was not a misunderstanding. This was a position of trust allegedly abused in the worst possible ways. Let me say that plainly. Children are not confused. Children are not, do not imagine this. And children do not benefit from lying around with something that traumatic. The Bible is crystal clear on this. Jesus himself said it would be better to have a millstone tied around your neck than to harm a child. That is not a metaphorical language. It's moral condemnation. Moral condemnation. What you're going to find in this particular story is that this woman has abused this young 11-year-old child. Ard. They even got her for back. So I'm assuming that, obviously she's a female. So other things were there. But what had happened is she was talking to this kid and said she can't wait to have his front junk. And so he invited her over. And when she came over, the police were waiting. So there was no misunderstanding that she was the one that authored those texts. And she was the one that actually drove over. So this had been going on. This had been found out. She is now in jail. And we have been talking about stuff, because back in our day, everybody was very concerned about the male teachers. And I have noticed on this channel, because we've brought this up multiple times, that we're finding out that there are a lot of female teachers that are now engaging in this deplorable conduct with male students. And so I think it's very important that we be very sensitive on these types of topics, but not discussing them or not bringing awareness to our parents that are on this channel, I feel is malpractice of this channel. So we have to, if we see a pattern, we're going to talk to you guys about it. I'm starting to see a pattern. So you mommies and daddies of boys, you guys might need to start talking to your children. Once upon a time, we only had to worry about the girls, and we talked, my parents talked to me. I'm sure your parents talked to you about good touch, bad touch. I don't trust the schools to talk about it anymore because they're so overly sexualizing our children. And I don't think they really care anymore, about whether we're good touched or bad touched as children. They try to act like they are, but there's so many things that are promoting this, and you can see it just in the Department of Educations in multiple states. I think we need to start charging these school districts with predatory behavior with what they're doing to the children. And this is what's creating this type of toxic environment where female teachers think that they can prey upon their pupils in student body. So this teacher here is behind bars, but she's one of many. And I'm sure she's one of many that haven't been caught. And let's be honest, she had already abused the child before she had been caught. So you're talking about multiple abuses of these children, right? Multiple abuses of these children. And she came there with substances, pharmaceutical substances. What was she going to do with that? It's scary. A teacher, an elementary school teacher. Sick. So we actually talked about this case once upon a time, very vaguely, but we talked about it. This is the kingpin. If you guys remember, there was an Olympic medalist. He was a former Olympian. His name was Ryan Wedding, and he was on the FBI Most Wanted for a really long time as this drug trafficking kingpin. Like I don't know. It's pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting. But he had been on the run for quite some time, and he's been arrested. We covered it a few months ago. I think it was I want to say if he's the one that had brought it up on his page. But I remember it was something I was watching politically, and then I'm like, I happened to read, and I know it was involved in some of the ICE stuff that I was reading, and that's how I got to the story about this Olympian being this drug kingpin that's literally wanted by the FBI. And so I ran the story. It was just a minor story where we were just talking. It was one of those 5-minute intro stories. And so I never thought anything would come of it. It was a little shocking that an Olympian would ruin his career and his life over something like being a kingpin, but allegedly it's true. And he was on the run. He wasn't even in the country when I came across the FBI flyer. But it sounds like he has been arrested. This is someone who went from representing the country on a worldwide stage to allegedly operating the darkest corner of organized crime. This matters because it reminds us that fame is not character. And we learn that a lot because we talk a lot about celebrities on here and how, I don't idolize any celebrity. They're the most effed up people I've ever met, like psychologically effed up. They're either nice narcissists, they're psychopathic. These people are very self-absorbed, okay? And then they take that mental illness and that those horrible traits, and they abuse their own children with them because they think their children is a Gucci bag instead of a living human being. And it's awful. So yet fame is not character, and we have to really represent that. Talent is not morality, and success without accountability will always collapse. So we'll keep watching this case as it moves through the courts, but it looks like one bad guy is yet again off the streets, and what a promising career this man truly did have. I mean, he's an Olympian, a United States Olympian. So definitely interesting stuff. Let me pull this up just so you guys could see the picture. There we go. And again, like I said, I'm moving through some of these very, very quickly. It's not going to take us a whole lot. It's just updates on it. So as you guys know, this is the case of Luigi Mangione, and he is accused of murdering in cold blood the CEO of United Healthcare. So there's been a new update in the United Healthcare murder case involving physical evidence, including a backpack, now being emphasized by investigators. This case has had a long and complicated history, and every time new evidence surfaces, it sharpens the picture of what prosecutors believed happened leading up to the homicide. As always, we follow facts, not speculation, and we will continue to track the evidence and changes related to this. But before we leave, I just want to read this AP article to you guys. So Louis Mangione's federal murder trial in the killing of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson will begin with jury selection on September 8th, a judge said Friday. So for those that are interested in it, I don't have anything on the books just yet. We don't know what's going to be breaking between now and September. But if we are free September 8th, I'm going to put this in our calendar so we can monitor this. And if we are available, we will be watching this trial. If not, then we'll leave it to the other channels to go over this trial and commentate on that. U.S. District Judge Margaret Garnett said the rest of the trial schedule, including opening statements and testimony, is contingent on whether she allows prosecutors to seek the death penalty. So the death penalty is still on the table. From what I'm understanding is that he might have some mental issues. I don't know how that's going to affect this death penalty. I think they want the death penalty, but we'll see. It's one of several issues the judge is weighing right now. If the death penalty is still in play, the next phase of trial will begin January 11th, 2027. So we're looking at a trial that will begin, jury selection will begin September 8th. And then they're pushing for the trial because they must expect them to have a lot of need for, that's a long jury selection, September 8th, and the trial starting January. Wow. Anyways, that's more than 4 months after the start of jury selection. It's not opening statements will be held on October 13th. Capital cases are more complex and require more time to prepare. Mangione, 27, has pled guilty to federal and state murder charges, which carry the possibility of life in prison. So the state trial has not been scheduled yet. So we'll see where all of that goes. Garnett set the dates for Mangione to return to court for a hearing procedure governing police seizure of his backpack on December 9th, 2024. I think that's already been taken place. So just an update there on this particular case. So it seems like this is going to stretch out for months and months and months, which, how do I feel about that? I'm not quite sure how I feel about that, in all honesty, because I'm not sure really how I feel about that, because even Alec Murdaugh's trial didn't last that long. I mean, we have a lot of trials, like Bryan Kohberger didn't go to trial, but I had anticipated his being like 6 to 8 weeks. But they're doing jury selection in September, opening arguments in October. Like you know what I'm saying? Like opening arguments in October and a trial in January. It's just, that is weird to me. And I mean, don't forgive me. I'm just not. I'm pretty ignorant when it comes to like New York law. I guess I need to brush up on some how the procedures. Maybe this is federal procedures. I don't know. This is freaking nuts. I don't know. I don't want to speculate here, but that just weird to me. So sorry about that. Okay, this case here is pretty much, I think, going to enrage a lot of people. Let me see, make sure I got the kid's face on here. I do not. Oh, come on. There we go. That should be up, right? Yeah, there he is. Oh, beautiful face, huh? You guys are not going to like this at all. You're not going to like this at all. It makes my blood boil. It really does. So now we need to stop and talk about something that makes my blood literally boil, and it's this 3-year-old child. This 3-year-old child is deceased. He's dead. And the people that caused the killing of this child, it happened during an alleged exorcism. So they're basically trying to tell us that this child was evil. Again. So they're now asking the case to be thrown out under California's Racial Justice Act. So I'm outraged. Let me be very clear. California doesn't get to excuse child abuse or child murder under the banner of social justice ever. A 3-year-old child cannot consent. A 3-year-old child cannot defend themselves. A 3-year-old child is the very definition of vulnerable. And yet we are being asked once again, total contextualize to excuse. No, this is not justice. This is ideology protecting the guilty while trampling on the innocent. Scripture tells us that God is the defender of the fatherless. Any system that shields adults while children suffer is not righteous. It's corrupt. It's corrupt. If California truly cares about children, this case would never even entertain dismissal arguments. The fact that it is tells us everything we need to know about where the priorities lie in California. They actually have a law, folks, called the Racial Justice Act. To me, that is unconstitutional and it violates civil rights. And somebody needs to legally challenge that. I am so sick and tired of the ACLU being in California and all these big things, and they allow these types of things to go on. I'm actually going to be pushing to defund some of these nonprofit attorney things because they don't help. You know who they help? They help people that don't look like me. Because when I needed help from them, when I was having my rights violated, they didn't care. But they surely reached out to me to protest something to do with and I wrote them, and I didn't expect somebody to write me back, but I'm sitting there arguing with them on a text message because don't be reaching out to me to have me help you do protest and come out and bring this and that when you can't even stand up and fight for me. Well, what did you need? I'm so sorry, we didn't help you. And I sent them all my stuff. I told them to get bent. Get bent! And they have one of the biggest outfits out there in California, and they let this kind of crap go by. Why? Because they don't really care about white folks or people that look like me. Okay? That's the reality of it. It's racist. It's racist. Keep going. So there's a girl, there's not really much to see here. It's in Houston, Texas, but I will kind of read this. This is Liz I can't pronounce, it's like Liz Barraza, I think is how you pronounce her name. And it's renewed urgency. This is an update on an unsolved case from 2019, and her father's dying wish has renewed urgency in this case and should be. Liz was shot in broad daylight. Someone knows who did this, and someone has stayed silent for years. Justice delayed is justice denied, and her family deserves answers. And what we have here is, again, a dying father's wish to have his daughter's case solved.
As we bring you now the story of a father's dying wish.
7 years after their daughter was gunned down in her driveway, the parents of Liz Barraza say time is of the essence to find out who killed her.
I'm hoping that this makes it hard for these people to keep their silence.
ABC 13 reporter Jessica Willie spoke to her parents ahead of the somber anniversary of a case that has frustrated investigators.
Sunday marks 7 years since Liz Barraza was shot to death outside her home. Her parents have been a force when it comes to keeping the spotlight on her case, which is still unsolved. But now there's a sense of urgency.
Justice for Liz.
For 7 years, Bob Nelly and his wife Rosemary have made plea after plea.
So they just shot her and left?
Their daughter, Elizabeth Barraza, was shot to death in her Tomball area driveway as she set up for a garage sale on January 25th, 2019. Her parents have been determined to find her killer, vowing to wait as long as it takes. But now time.
You'll notice that my appearance is slightly different.
Is not on their side.
I could be around for a couple of years, or it could be a couple of months. At this point, It's all in God's hands.
Bob was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer last year that has spread. He's lost 150 pounds and relies on a feeding tube. The difference in his appearance is stunning. As Bob's health declines, the Nellies say their push for justice has only intensified.
We wanted people to see that the bar is raised. There's
a sense of urgency.
I have a sense of urgency.
Investigators have no clear motive, but believe Liz's murder was carefully planned. The shooter in disguise
That means somebody knows
waited
her.
for Liz's husband to leave and used a revolver, which doesn't eject shell casings. A dark-colored Nissan Frontier, believed to be the suspects, was captured on several neighborhood cameras, including the Barrazas. Still, there have been no arrests.
She's getting better.
Sergeant Michael Ritchie is the lead investigator.
We do have
Well, I can tell you just based on the stuff that they're talking about, well planned out. Nobody's going to go. We didn't hear anything about a theft. We didn't hear anything about any. So this is somebody that knows them. This is somebody that, and he killed her. It was a man. It sounds like it was a man. So it sounds like it was somebody that she was either previously in a relationship with, in a current relationship with. It sounds like this person waited for her husband to leave. So you're talking about either somebody that she disagreed with at work or a past lover. Somebody that she dated that she left, maybe kind of like Monique Tepe. It's sad, but it does sound domestic violence related. So her family probably already knows who did this or have at least suspicion of who did this. And they need that nugget, that little nugget, just to seal the deal. So if you know anything about this case, we're involved in this case or anything, please pass this around. Share it. These families need help. And you guys might be the key in uncovering that nugget of information. So pass around. We're going to eyeball this. You guys know I like getting involved in cases very, very quickly, if possible. And this is, I don't know how to pronounce the name, but it sounds like Manitou Spring Woman. Authorities have now confirmed the disappearance of a woman from Manitou. I could be wrong how to pronounce that. My puppy is the best lap warmer. So is mine. But it's now being turned into a criminal investigation. And we all know that this, when we hear a missing person turn into a criminal investigation, it's not very good. So this shift matters. It tells us investigators believe this is no longer a missing person case, but a case that involves potential foul play. So I have a funny feeling they believe she's deceased, which is never good because they don't have her. And they probably don't have a whole lot of suspects at the moment, or maybe they have an idea. But we've seen this pattern too many times, a disappearance, unanswered questions, then slowly the truth begins to surface. So we're going to watch this case very, 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 very closely, but I wanted to give you guys some updates on it so you guys can do your own independent research. This is something that we need to help out with. We need to start promoting this, and this is for the true crime community as a whole. I know we have a lot of cases that are going on, but this is a missing person case that we missed as a missing person, and now they believe there's foul play in it. And as you can see, a woman is holding a blonde-haired boy, so she's a mom. This is an all-hands-on-deck situation, folks. Okay, so we're going to dive into this. Probably, I'm going to start doing some preliminary research on this today. Her name's Margaret Woolsey. She's 57 years old, and we know at her age, she's most likely been murdered by somebody she knows. Law enforcement are releasing details in the search for a Manitou Spring woman. Margaret Woolsey, 57, disappeared last August, but wasn't reported missing until September. How in the world? So there's either two things at play here. She's either a transient, or the family was asking, where is she? And somebody withheld the information for almost a month. And then they're like, we're filing the missing person. So we need to find some information. And this is coming out of Colorado. And no offense, folks from Colorado, but Colorado is not the best for rights of human beings. They're not. You may think they are, but they're not. They're actually very, very horrible. They don't really care about you. Florida, 4 months later, investigators with the Colorado Bureau of Investigation and Manitou Spring Police Department are still searching for Woolsey. Investigators are now calling it a criminal investigation. Investigators say Woolsey was last seen in the area between Bradley Road and Wageman Drive. She was, so we're already hearing some past tense here from her sister, so it tells me that they perceive her as deceased. So she was a very kind person, very loving, said Woolsey's sister, April Rossetti. If somebody needed something, she would work harder. Rossetti acknowledged that her sister had faced challenges, including struggles with substance abuse, mental health in the past. However, she says Woolsey had been doing well before she disappeared. My brother provided her a place to stay, said Rossetti. She was living with us in Woodland Park and was doing really well. Her family says one detail immediately stood out is Woolsey's love for her dogs. She treated her dogs like they were human, she said. That detail has become a major factor in the investigation because leaving them behind was completely out of character. Manitou Springs police detective Amanda Strider says Woolsey leaving her dogs behind raised serious red flags. But who's she living with? Because it sounds like she was living with family, and her leaving her dogs behind, one of two things happened. She ended up meeting somebody, or something happened to her a little closer to home. We are now considering this a criminal investigation because of foul play, said Strider. According to Strider, multiple interviews with people who knew Woolsey all pointed to the same concern. Everyone I've interviewed at this point has said she would never leave her dogs or her life. Investigators are now asking the public for any information that could help, even small details. If she left them at home, if she never left her dogs, like I very rarely leave Delilah here. The only time I'd leave Delilah at this house is when I go grocery shopping. Delilah comes with me and of course the county meetings. Those are the only time I leave Delilah here at the house. I don't leave Delilah home at all, you know? And so, if she doesn't leave her dogs, she doesn't leave her dogs. So her dogs are at home. I don't want to accuse her family of doing anything to her, you know, but this could very well be very, very much closer to home, just to let you know. But again, we're monitoring that case, going to see if there's anything that we can bring to that case. If not, you know, it's not. So again, we're just bringing some updates to you guys. We're going to get kind of more into our more well-known cases that we've been touching on, more national cases now. So the next few cases we're going to go over is Celeste and David, Ashley and Melody Buzzard, Alec Murdaugh update, and then of course we're going to dive in for a little bit longer on the Bryan Kohberger stuff because it's pretty interesting. So the former FBI special agent Jennifer Coffindaffer has posted a series of updates that all connect to one national story. This case involves federal attention, coordinated investigation, and serious criminal allegations. What matters here is that law enforcement is signaling that this is bigger than one suspect, bigger than one jurisdiction, and not going away. When federal investigators speak publicly in this way, it is intentional. So what are we talking about? And it comes down to this. So Jennifer Coffindaffer posted this and said, below is the SW affidavit the court relied upon for LE to go inside the frunk of David's Tesla. What makes me sick is that Celeste was reduced to a foul odor. I pray for justice for her. So I wanted to pull this up and read this to you if I can. Oops. Let's see. Let me see how it's positioned on the screen. Let me move this over just a bit, folks. Give me a second. Okay. So we got some cutoff. All right, let me cut this. So we got some cutoff naturally on this. All right, so you guys can see it. I got it as good as I'm going to be able to get it on here. It's going to have some cutoff statements. Let me just see if I can. So you guys can see it just a little bit better. And my head's not cutting it off. I'm going to read it to you, what I can read. Like, again, there are some cutoff statements on this particular thing. It says, I, Detective Jason Wild, serial number 39379, have been employed by the Los Angeles Police Department for over 17 years. I'm currently assigned to the Hollywood area Autos Detectives Table, with a primary duty assignment of investigating auto-related crimes. I have completed numerous domestic violence, robbery, burglary from motor vehicles, fraud, stolen vehicles, and theft investigation, and have arrested numerous people for these related offenses. I have also located and recovered stolen property on numerous occasions. I have also attended classes regarding domestic violence, robbery, theft, fraud, and other related offenses in the Los Angeles Police Academy. I have received informal training from other experienced officers and detectives and have interviewed numerous suspects regarding the manner in which they committed their crimes and disposed of their loot. I am familiar with the manner in which numerous crimes are committed. Based on previous investigations and experience, it is in my opinion that electronic communication methods such as text messaging, electronic mail, email, IM, DM, instant/direct message, and online forum posts are used by criminals for communication and the facilitation of criminal operations. This includes covert and public transmission of phone numbers, addresses, messages, photos, images, and files. Based on my previous investigation and experience, it is in my opinion that electronic forms of payments such as Zelle, PayPal, Apple Pay, Venmo, Cash App, and the use of cryptocurrencies are used by criminals. Both for their transmission speed and ease of use, criminals prefer these forms of transaction to remain anonymous to their victims and move their money quickly. However, unlike cash, criminal must set up these accounts and connect to real bank account information, and in some cases provide identification to open these accounts. Interesting, but true. Probable cause statement. Very small. On September 8th, 2025, Detective, it says ILL Clore. So Detective Clore, serial number 32866, was advised by official police garage Hollywood Tow at 1015 North Mansfield, Los Angeles, California, that they have a vehicle on their lot which is emitting a foul odor and attracting flies. The vehicle was reported as abandoned to Los Angeles Department of Transportation in the area of 1406 Bluebird Avenue in Hollywood. Los Angeles Department of Transportation responded to the location at towed the vehicle on September 5th, 2025. The vehicle's current registration comes back to Texas. Currently unable to contact the registered owner of the vehicle, Detective Clore responded to the location and verified the vehicle is emanating a foul odor from the trunk area. I declare under penalty of perjury. So that's what she was talking about. And then you have Neo, David's friend, has been arrested. Who is next? The grand jury has been busy. Neo looks very happy for now. This is going to be very, very, very twisted. So here is the friend that has now officially been arrested. That smile is going to probably hurt him, quite a bit in court. When you go in, this is a serious matter. A young girl is dead, and his mug shot shows a smile. And look at David. He's completely, these people are obviously using some serious substances. They are both completely messed up here. Anybody that has used substances can identify this, okay? If you have never used substances, you might not realize that that's what you're looking at, but I can promise you that is, in fact, what you're looking at. Let me get these out of here. And then we have Celeste Rivas was dead in David's Tesla Frunk on September 8, 2025, after sitting for weeks abandoned on a street near David's $20,000 a month rental home. According to the PI hired, the unscrupulous PI, by the rent house homeowner, and I need to call that guy and let him know and show him all the stuff that his PI has done to other people. Maybe he doesn't care because he's probably a California piece of shit. I don't know. But David's Tesla was parked with her body in it and had been there since July 29th. Can you imagine that? She was sitting there since July 29th, and wasn't even found until September, over a month. Wow. Look at David. A day later on 7/30, his first day of tour. Maybe he was too wasted. He wasn't even exactly sure how Celeste got in his frunk. Someone in his entourage knows what happened. It didn't happen solo. So this is how screwed up this boy was. He was so messed up. He was so messed up. These kids, they get some money. They get some money and they just go straight to drugs. They think it's cool. I do not think it's cool. I do not think it's cool. So, anyways, getting on, we still have, I've still got just a little bit left here, and we're almost through the major stuff, and then we'll get to the talking points. Now let's slow down and go deep. Ashley Buzzard is back in court, accused of the shooting death of her 9-year-old girl. Let me see if I can find a photo of her. She needs to have her photo brought up. There we go. Is that on right? There we go. There she is. Monster. And I will be honest with you, if you guys have not seen me cover this case, I did not think that she would do it. I didn't think she had it in her. I thought law enforcement was blowing this out of proportion because she had a history of disappearing with her child before. She's had a history of taking her child out of the state and hiding her child from the in-laws. So I thought that's what she did again. And I thought law enforcement was wrong. And I thought they were mischaracterizing this and vilifying the mother for trying to take her daughter and keep her daughter from being taken from her. That's what I thought. That's what the information that I had told me. Well, lo and behold, that wasn't the case. She was out at a park, deceased. Her mom had her walk in front of her, and kaboom. Kaboom. So, you know how I feel about parents that like to hurt their children. I don't like them. So, let this sink in. A child, 9 years old. The court has now allowed the defense to access to sealed warrants, and that tells us this case is entering a more aggressive legal process. Here's what matters. The prosecution believes that this was not an accident. The defense wants access to materials they believe could change that narrative. But there are no legal maneuvers changes change the core truth. A child is dead, and the system must determine who's responsible. The children are not collateral damage. They are not bargaining chips. They are not mistakes. God entrusted children to adults for protection, not harm. And every time a case like this appears, it exposes failures that go far beyond one courtroom. In this particular case, one of the defining issues with it is that typically when you have a mentally ill person, you have multiple stints in psychiatric hospitals, multiple stints in hospitals. You even have charges, other type of charges, criminal charges, because they didn't realize you were mentally ill or whatever, and they ended up charging you with crimes. But in this case, you had none of that. You only had some family saying she wasn't right upstairs in her head or whatever the case may be. And, short of this being the in-laws saying that, and even her mother that had fallen out of contact with her over the last year and a half, I really don't have a whole lot of respect for her mother, because if she was really displaying all of this mental behavior, why would she leave her granddaughter in her custody and never once, and I mean never once, call into the Department of Children and Family Services or law enforcement just to check on the ability or the safety of her grandchild if she knew her grandchild was with a mentally deranged mother, her own daughter? Let me give you guys an example. We had a situation where one of our friends was being abused by her boyfriend, and she has a child, and she wanted to leave. So we ended up packing that friend up and getting her out of Dodge, right? But we had, recordings and other things of her boyfriend threatening her life and talking about hitting her and talking about he should have done more and, basically admitting to his crimes. And so she wanted to leave. She didn't want to press charges, whatever. Well, the caveat of that was all of us had agreed and told her to her face that if you go back, we're turning this stuff over to law enforcement and calling the Department of Children and Family Services. If you want to put yourself through that, that's fine, but you're not putting your child through that. And so ultimately, she went back to the abusive boyfriend. So guess what the friends and the family did? They turned all of the evidence over to law enforcement and to the Department of Children and Family Services. So now she's got the Department of Children and Family Services up her ass. And the reason why you do that, it's not to punish the person, it's to protect the child. If you know that a child is in a bad home, it is your duty as a human being to step up and do something about it. That child doesn't know any better, and people are delusioned to think that children aren't affected by abuse of their parent. It screws them up, and it screws them up for life. So that's what ends up happening. And in this case, the grandmother, again, I don't have any respect for her because she walked off and left her own grandchild in this home, and her exact statement was, I couldn't deal with the mental illness of my own child, and I had to go get counseling. So if you needed counseling, you didn't think your grandchild needed counseling, or you just didn't give a shit? I'm just still wondering. So again, if you're in a situation like that, you guys got to do what you have to do, okay? If people get mad at you, so be it. If nothing's going on and they think that everything's fine, then at least you did what you could do to help the situation. Then if something does happen in the future, at least, you did everything you possibly could, right? It doesn't change the fact that somebody's hurt or dead in the future, but at least you tried. You tried. And this grandmother didn't even try. So, there's a lot of things that can be said about it. But in all reality, everything that I was seeing, I never thought she could do what they have accused her of doing. But she did. I believe she did. Okay. Sorry. Now, Alec Murdaugh is not going to necessarily be the longest. Let me read this. Hold on, let me read this to you guys real quick before we move on. Actually, I think I'm playing this. Let it go through the commercial, and then it'll play.
Tonight we begin with new developments in the murder case of a 9-year-old girl as it takes a new turn. Today, a judge granted a local mom's attorneys access to previously sealed evidence.
I'm Crystal Pravinez, your community reporter, and in a tense courtroom Wednesday, attention turned to a key motion in the case against the Vandenberg village mother who's charged with murdering her 9-year-old daughter. Defense attorneys referencing this motion in my hand, asking the judge to unseal search warrants and affidavits in the case. Ashley Buzzard appeared wearing an orange long-sleeve top with black slacks, her hair slicked back into a bun with curly bangs.
Well, you can see it all on her face. I'm sorry, I can see everything on her face. That is a guilty face. That is a defeated face. That is, oh, I shouldn't have done that face. But it doesn't change the facts.
Showing no emotion throughout the hearing, she only uttered the word yes when agreeing to extend her time waiver. The judge denied media's request to film the hearing, only allowing pictures to be taken. Public defender Erica Sutherland tells me the defense is still waiting on key discovery.
We're talking about a large quantity because there's different types of forensic evidence that I'm missing. It's going to be several hundred pages. It could be thousands of pages.
Sutherland is representing Buzzard and tells me without that material, she can't fully review or challenge the evidence against her client.
It's going to take some time for those files to get to me and then more time for me to review them before I am prepared to go to preliminary hearing.
The judge also upheld a permanent gag order limiting what law enforcement can say publicly about the case, a move the defense says is necessary to protect Buzzard's right to a fair trial.
Prejudice has already occurred, that in that initial press conference from the sheriff's office, there was an inflammatory attack on Ms. Buzzard's character. There were statements about evidence that, as I've indicated, the defense still doesn't have.
Outside the courtroom, family members waiting for answers reacted to the delay in court proceedings.
I just can't believe that this lady has so many rights. She came out with no handcuffs because she requested that. It is torture. Right now, we're going through a lot with getting the baby here.
I can tell you I do not like this family. I really do not like this family. And I think that they are one of the reasons why we're in this situation. Their constant threat of stealing Melody, I really do think that dangled over her head, put her over the edge. Is it justified? My whole statement and stance on this has been from the beginning. Look at them. They all have money. You can tell it. You can tell that grandmother looks like she's wealthy. Okay. She looks like she lives in a nice house, drives a nice car, and she never, ever tried to financially help or support this child. She wanted to take this child from her mother. How do I feel about that? I feel that if a family is willing to take care of a child from a mentally ill person, that mentally ill person is still a human being and still a parent. And there has to be something that to help keep that parent. Because if we start taking away children from mentally ill parents, we're going to have a lot of problems in this country. Okay, they should have been treating her. They should have had a plan of care. They should have had a plan of action. They should have had, the Department of Children and Family Services continued over the course of this because she is mentally ill and they need to make sure that the child's taken care of. They needed more resources. I think if there were more resources for Ashley, we would not be here. It's not about putting blame on services and stuff like that. But let's face it, if she really was mentally messed up, the Department of Children and Family Services had not been in her house in years. She had her child back for years. Nobody ever bothered caring, right? And granted, this family here, their only purpose of trying to find Ashley was to take Melody away from her. And many people say, yeah, but Melody would be alive, and so be it. You're right. If they were successful at taking Melody away from her mother, she would still be alive today. But I feel like parents shouldn't have their children stripped from them because they have mental illness. There should be resources out there. And if families want to take care of the child and want to rip the child out of the parents' arms, then they should be able to pay some type of child support or some type of support for that child to help that person that's struggling with their grandchild. Instead of trying to take it, find a way to blend the lives and the families until it's unsustainable. If it's unsustainable, then you have to go to the next stage. But from my understanding, they tried to take this child away over one incident. That would never be okay in a court of law. You can't, unless the incident is so severe, even in some incidences where it is really severe, the parents still have the ability to try to get their children back, which I don't necessarily agree with, but I don't necessarily disagree with it either. I believe everybody can change, and I believe everybody has a right, but we're getting in a whole different conversation, but I really just don't, I don't really care for these people here either. I really don't. I'm sorry.
As Buzzard exited the courtroom, emotion spilled over, with an audience member directing a derogatory comment towards her.
You heard members of the audience yelling out and being disruptive during the court proceedings, and it saddened me that this is a brand new case. Minds are already made up.
Buzzard has pleaded not guilty and remains in custody without bail.
See, she looks like a normal mom that likes playing with her daughter, and this is kind of what I had seen when it came to her, and I never in a million years would think that she would hurt her child. Period.
I'll be back in the courtroom when she's scheduled to appear again on February 11th. In Lompoc, Crystal Bermudez, KSBY News.
So, again, take that for what you will. Still to this day, I can't believe she did what she did. Period. And it's sad. It's sad. Well, I'm pretty sure many of you guys know who is on my screen now, okay? Well, this is a case we've covered inside and out. I think we know just about every detail of this case. I mean, there might be something that shocks me, but I think at this point, we've covered the case of Alec Murdaugh very, very thoroughly on this channel. We've covered this case very thoroughly from boots on the ground efforts and initiatives. A date has officially been set for the appeal. Many of you guys know I've been advertising it here. We're going to be there. I will tell you guys that the Real Me Too reached out to me and let me know that she heard through the grapevine that they're not allowing media into the courtroom. Come next week, I will be calling up to the courthouse to get the rules to find out if I need to file anything or anything like that for February 11th. But no matter what, it doesn't matter. Whether I go into the courtroom or I don't go into the courtroom, we're going to be live out in front of the appeals court. We've done this before. Actually, many times I don't even go into the courtroom. I usually stay out if I have the ability to bring a generator or some type of generator, or have a plug or cords from my vehicle that I can crank and, plug some power in. I'll run the hearing right from my computer, and we'll have it live streamed right from my computer out in front of the courthouse. So it doesn't really matter whether we're going into the courthouse or not. It doesn't matter whether we watch the full trial or not. What matters is we will be there regardless. I still have people I can speak to. I still have the attorneys. The attorneys know me because I've been at just about every single court hearing. They may not know my name, but they know my face. And we've been at everything when it comes to Alec Murdaugh, including the auction when they sold his entire estate. We were there. I've got a whole bunch of Alec Murdaugh memorabilia, just like I've got all this stuff around the office of Gabby Petito. We have all those signs that were out in front of Gabby Petito's Brian Laundrie's house. Better Call Bertolino, Dirty Laundry. We got Dog the Bounty Hunter with Brian Laundrie's head in his arm. Those type. And we have another one. I had 4 of them. Where's my 4th one? I had 4 of them. Maybe it was just 3. Just 3? Yeah, I guess it might just be 3. I thought I had another one. Okay, well, I guess it's just 3 of them. If I do have another one, I guess I'll find it. So, anyways, let's rewind. Alec Murdaugh, as many of you may know or may not know, he was a very well-known South Carolina attorney. His family was the solicitor. If you don't know what a solicitor is, if you're from Florida, we have state attorneys. A solicitor is basically a state attorney. So his family, the Murdaugh family, has been in power for almost 100 years. They defy just South Carolina history. Their family running that sector, they are the longest standing family to hold power in any singular area in the history of our country. So they're going down in the history books, not just for South Carolina, but for the United States, for their solicitation position almost 100 years running until they were basically overthrown. I don't know what to call it, by another state attorney, which ultimately brought this case against Alec Murdaugh. But Alec Murdaugh was a powerful attorney with a powerful family, money, influence, connections, and yet the jury convicted him of murdering his wife Maggie and his son Paul. Yes, and the real Me Too is saying we can thank Becky Hill for this, and that's right. During his trial, I was at his trial. We did not realize Becky Hill seemed to be a very professional lady. I watched her. I saw her speak in public. She seemed to be, a very studious country mom, and she was the clerk. Nice lady. Looked like she had good character and that she had good integrity, right? But what we didn't see, because all this stuff went on behind the hearing, behind closed doors, not in the jury, not in the court hearing, not in the public eye at all, but she muddied up a lot, and which is what brought this whole possibility of appeal forward. But now his defense is arguing that errors, including alleged jury issues by Becky Hill, warrant a new trial. Now, we were there for this. They did bring it before Judge Toll, which was a retired judge at the Supreme Court, the South Carolina Supreme Court, which is where we're going again. And Becky Hill lied to the judge, because we were there at the court hearing. We knew what had happened there, even though we didn't know what was going on behind the closed doors. We did hear testimony from all the jurors, and all the jurors said that what Becky did would not have changed their vote whatsoever. She did say things like pay attention and, stuff like that, kind of egging on that she believed Alec was guilty, and that you have to have an impartial trial. That's what makes our justice system work well, is impartiality, and she was being partial. She was already basically letting everybody know that everybody believed Alex had done this, and that wasn't right. So an appeal is not innocent. It's a process. While every defendant is entitled to due process, the family of victims are entitled to justice without endless delays. This appeal will test whether the system bends for powerful or stands firm. It is my position that while her behavior was bad, deplorable, despicable, if you will, I don't think it changed the jury's mind. I don't think it affected the jury. That's and I'm saying that not as an assumption, but as me being in a court hearing, listening to the testimony of every single jury member in his jury, knowing who they are personally. They all had to come up one by one to the jury stand. And while they may not have showed you guys the faces, I was there in the right behind. You see those people behind him there? I was back there, so we got to see the people that had to come up on the podium and testify, saying that they believe that Alec murdered his wife and his son, and that they did hear. Few of them didn't hear Becky say anything. So there was like I want to say there was a big chunk or a big handful of people that never heard Becky Hill say a thing. So there was a huge, so there's only a few people, like a handful of people that actually heard some of the statements that Becky Hill had made. And of those few people that actually heard the statements Becky Hill made, they testified in front of Judge Toll that it did not affect or sway the outcome of their vote to vote of guilt for Alec Murdaugh, that they would have voted guilty, that he was guilty of the crimes, whether or not they heard anything from Becky, and that Becky's statements did not change or alter their decision on this case. And so that is important to me, because I don't know how they're going to, I mean, yeah, she did this, and that's their argument. She did this, so we're entitled to. But there's another caveat to that. It had to have been enough to sway the vote of the jury. And the jurors themselves are testifying under oath that it did not sway their vote. So I don't know how they're getting over that hurdle. I don't know if this is going to be successful. But in all fairness, I didn't believe Becky Hill did this. I didn't believe Becky Hill had been responsible for Alec Murdaugh. Oh, thank you. Oh, I think I can put the gift chat back up. I think it's done from being jammed up. It was jammed up last night. I had to turn it off. Thank you, my prayer warrior. Let them 66. Thank you for all you do. Glad you're back, prayer warrior. All of you in the storm path, stay safe and stay warm. Michigan minus 15 degrees this morning. Good gracious. Don't worry, I'm going to be with you. Not that bad, but once it hits Florida, I'm worried about you guys up north, because it's going to drop us down to like the low to mid 30s, maybe the mid to high 30s. I think would probably be more appropriate for where my area is going to be at. I think it's like going to be 34 to 36 degrees. I think 36 maybe is what let me look up. Actually, let me just not guess. I'll just tell you. So we're going to be hit. So it looks like Monday we got the front coming in. Oh. Does anybody else have a problem with their thing coming out? I don't know why this thing's coming out so much. Okay, so it looks like Monday we're going to have the rain. Tuesday it's going to be 38 degrees. Wednesday it's going to be 37 degrees. Thursday 44. Friday 38, Saturday 37, Sunday 39, Monday 39. Good gracious, all next week. We're going to be down in the 30s and 40s. So it looks like high 30s, not low to mid 30s. It looks like high 30s. We're going to be in the state of Florida, at least my area. So that means it's going to be really bad for you guys next week. If we're down that cold, that means the rest of the United States is going to be like in a blizzard. I don't know what else to say. I'm feeling for you guys. I'm feeling for you guys. Wow. Thank you. Thank you, love. Yeah, and please all stay safe. Please, please, please. If you guys don't mind, hit the thumbs up button and come back in here and tell us, every now and again we go through this where we have people tell us where they're from, like what state they're from, or if you want to do a region or county and just tell us what the temperature is. It helps for the people that are around the country kind of get an idea of what the temperature is. So if you guys would like to participate, just go into the chat and type your area and the temperature that you are at, and that will be really, really good. All right, let's get back to this so we can get this closed out. We still have Bryan Kohberger, and I got to get off. We're already after 9. So here's the hard truth. An appeal is not innocence. It's a process. And again, like I said before, while every defendant is entitled to due process, the families are entitled to justice without endless delays. And then lastly, finally, actually, let me just play this.
South Carolina Supreme Court officially setting a date to hear convicted killer Alec Murdaugh's appeal. He was found guilty in 2023 for the murder of his wife and son.
That's Judge Toll. That's Judge Toll right there. And she's got an amazing resume, guys, because she was one of the, you're talking to a lady that made history. You're looking at a lady that made history in South Carolina, because when she got into law, it was a man's job, okay? And no matter how you feel, it was the culture at the time. It's how there were men jobs and women jobs. You know, you got to understand, no matter what you believe today, we've had a long walk to get to where we are today. And so when we have people that are disrespectful to our country, it pisses me off, because things were a lot different than they once were. She was the first female Supreme Court person, but she has we went over her resume. Amazing. She's an amazing lady that was in a man's world and very successful at it. So anyways, if you guys were curious.
He's since filed for multiple retrials, but denied a hearing in January of 2024. This led to his appeal to the state Supreme Court. Murdaugh and his legal team argue he did not get a fair trial. Oral arguments are scheduled to take place Wednesday, February 11th.
I keep trying to see if we could see me. I should have rewinded. I know we were in there somewhere. So now we're going to be moving over. Let me see if I can get Bryan Kohberger. There's been some major issues. I'm not going to lie. The family's not happy. So let's go ahead and just dive into the Bryan Kohberger. We're getting finally into the Bryan Kohberger case. This case remains one of the most disturbing in modern true crime. And yours truly had an opportunity to do 2 tours out there. We got to do a tour before he was arrested, and we got to come back after he was a known suspect and back in the state of Idaho. So it was a very fluid situation, a very scary situation for a lot of people around this country that had their children in colleges and living away from home. 4 young college students were brutally murdered. Many of you guys know their name. They ring true to this day. Kaylee Gonzalez, Maddie Mogan, Ethan Chapin, and Xana Kernodle. A crime scene so violent that even seasoned investigators were shaken. Now, new crime scene photos, again, where the family is very, very upset, have been released. Then Pool, igniting outrage from family and the public. So let me say this clearly. Victims are not props. Their deaths are not content. And families should never be blindsided by graphic releases. However, we are in a information fueled society where things can be pushed out to a large audience very, very quickly. Once upon a time, all these things stayed very local, if you will. Not a whole lot of national information, or even after the cases, before social media, when Court TV ran the trial. After that, nobody really talked about it unless you saw an article in People's Magazine or the Inquirer, or, a publication or some sort, or a newspaper. But now with all this stuff, we can get this around the world literally within a few minutes. And that is something different than what we've been able to do before. And this is a case that many people are very interested in. And we want to see. I can tell you, me personally, I am a crime scene buff. Okay, I like seeing graphic photos. It's not for my entertainment. It's not to put up here for people to see. Some of the stuff I can't show online because of the graphic nature of it. But I like to see it because in order for me to understand crime scenes, in order for me to understand trajectory, in order for me to understand different things that we talk about on a true crime channel, I have to preview it. I can't learn unless I'm learning. And I know that a lot of people are of similar nature, where it's not content, but we are very, very curious, and people call it almost morbid curiosity, but it's not. I don't have morbid curiosity. I don't like seeing this stuff. but we are in true crime, and I still have to explain what I'm seeing. I still have to understand what I'm seeing, and you don't get that understanding without seeing a lot of bad and graphic things. And so I don't want to punish people, but I understand the families because this is their children, and I can't imagine being in their position, right? Because they're so emotional over this. And while we can be emotional that 4 young, beautiful lives were lost here, we didn't know them. We didn't have that paternal connection with them. We can disassociate and separate and compartmentalize this case because we don't have that personal connection to them. Even with Steve, my heart bleeds for him because I know Steve and Christy. You know, I've met them personally along with their older daughter, Olivia. Obviously, my Olivia, you know, the Olivia I worked with, she's with Steve Gonzalez, Kaylee Gonzalez's younger brother. You know, they're dating and talking about getting married right now. So this family does obviously have more of a personal connection to me than many of my other cases do. However, it doesn't change the fact that we're ultimately and ultra curious into how this I don't know what I want to call this, but I guess one of the most, again, I think the statement I said earlier, you know, one of the most disturbing in modern true crime cases that we discovered and covered. It's disturbing. And we are curious as how this happened. Well, I think the curiosity that we have in this is we've never had a trial. We never got an opportunity to see this evidence. This evidence would have been brought out in trial. And most of the families wanted a trial. So they should have already been fully prepared to deal with these photos. I'm sorry. That's just my position on it. They should have been fully prepared for these, but nobody could ever be prepared to see their children like this. Okay, I'm just going to say that. But again, they wanted the trial. This stuff would have come out in trial. Okay, so let me just put that caveat on this, and I'm just trying to explain it. Whether I don't want to sound heartless or anything like that, but I do want to explain it so people can understand, at least from my perspective. So this stuff would have come out in trial, and therefore I'm not really having that much of a problem with it. Now I do understand that the families, because any family that have a lost loved one are going to be hurt by seeing images. They don't have to look, first and foremost. I just want to put that out there. They don't have to look. But in this country, we pay for these things. We have rights as a public, and we are entitled to certain things. And I know that some of the families are conservatives and Republicans and believe in the laws that we have in this country, as hurtful as some of those laws would be. I had to deal with public record stuff, right? My whole life was very, very much put out here on YouTube. You guys even watched people put my home address with a map after they incited their audience that I was the demon and they needed to extinguish a demon, okay? So it was very scary times for me personally when they were putting my own life in danger because of public records and our public records laws. So I am sympathetic to the damage that public records can cause people and them mentally and physically. However, I have a choice whether I can still advocate for public record laws or start advocating for no public record laws. I would still advocate for public record laws because at the end of the day, truth and transparency are absolutely mean more to me than my personal comfort. And at the end of the day, these are cases. These are adult children. They weren't underage. And the law has to apply equally to this family and these families as they do to everybody else. Okay. Now they can't retroactively go out there and create laws. And if they do, that how I feel about that's going to be a different topic. Again, I'm very sympathetic to their pain, and I'm very sympathetic to them not wanting these things out. But it is public record, and the country has a right to know what happened. We spent millions and millions of dollars on that case, and it never even went to trial. Unfortunately, I'm going to be on the side of information in this, and I'm going to be on the side of education, and I'm going to be on the side of full disclosure. We have a right to know what happened to those children. They were at a public university. This was a trial in the public, and we have public recording laws. We have public distribution laws. We are entitled to these things, and I want the things that we as the American people are entitled to. As hurtful as those things are to the families, I'm very sorry, and again, I'm very sympathetic that you don't want this stuff out there, but people need to learn, and people need to learn a lot of different things, and we need to identify certain things as well. How did this man get into the house? How was he able to watch them? How was he able to know when to attack? Those are things that we can use to educate other people in the future to keep them safe. So as heartbreaking as that may be, that's going to be my position. Okay. But reports indicate that evidence left behind, including items tied directly to Bryan Kohberger, continue to reinforce the prosecutor's case. This includes physical evidence, scene documentation, forensic links that prosecutors believe placed him at the center of the crime. And yet, even now, people want to debate sympathy. No, we can have due process without losing moral clarity. And some people have just lost their moral clarity. 4 lives were taken, 4 families and countless other friends' families destroyed. Justice here must be thorough and final. And quite frankly, many people don't believe Bryan Kohberger did it. He admitted to doing it, but we never got to see the case presented against him. And that's going to weigh very heavily on a lot of people's mind, body, and soul. They want to see this for themselves. And at the end of the day, they are entitled to do that. I understand it's hurtful for the families, but think about all the families before these families. They've all had to go through the same thing. They've all had to go through the same thing. And the bottom line is you are never going to be able to have a public trial or a public situation like this and to be able to keep it private. Okay? There's public information laws that apply here, and we the people, this is a very much a public interest case. And that's a hard bar to overcome in this country. It's a hard bar to overcome. And it can be legally challenged. And I believe if they are too stringent on these laws or try to put stuff in laws, they're going to be going to the Supreme Court, and it's going to be, they're going to put it in, make it firm. And you know what? People don't understand. There's a lot of things that should never go to the Supreme Court, because everybody's like, well, just take it to the Supreme Court. Just take it to the Supreme Court. The problem is when you take it to the Supreme Court, whether it's good law or bad law, once they say this, it's done. And now it's absolute. So where, some states would have been able to say yes and say no and, let it be. Now it's a firm yes or it's a firm no across the board. So some things should never go to the Supreme Court. And a lot of people don't understand that. They want to go, they want to take it and challenge everything, challenge. And some of those things should be brought before the court. But some of those things people were very foolish taking before the court. And when they took it before the court because they weren't prepared properly to argue it, they have bad law at a Supreme Court level that has to be re-challenged at a later date to undo the bad they did. Much like the whole Roe versus Wade, whether you believe that should have been abolished or not, what no matter what side of the aisle you're on, the bottom line is the government never had the rights under our laws to ever have a blanket policy like that. That was a state-by-state policy, and each sovereign state should decide for their own people what their states moral compasses on that issue. And that's the way it's always been. And for whatever reason, the Supreme Court imagined some imaginary law that entitled to them to be able to make a statement for all the states across. That's what people didn't understand. It's been in place, but it's bad law. It was bad law. And whether you agree with the intent of the original law or not, I'm not going to debate you on that. You're entitled to your opinion. But at the end of the day, there was no law that existed that allowed the federal government to make such a demand on states. And so once it was finally challenged properly, it was kicked. And guess what it allowed states to do? Make the decisions individually, state by state, how they wanted to handle it. And that is where the decision should have been made, right? Because there might be some liberal states that are okay with it. And there may be some very, very Bible thumper states that aren't okay with it. And each state is a sovereign state and should make the decision themselves as our laws dictated. So we're all about having proper laws on the book, but it does go to explain why it's so important to make sure that you take only necessary cases to the Supreme Court. So yeah, states' rights, exactly. People don't understand. Yeah. And not only that, it's so funny because people are hypocritical at times. They're like, oh, well, we don't want the federal government deciding this for us. That should be at the state level. But you want the federal, because you don't agree with what your state's doing. Now you want the federal level to dictate. They are either going to dictate for the states or they're not. You're either sovereign states or you're not. And if you're sovereign states, no matter what, the federal should not be dictating over the states if they're doing things lawfully and legally. Okay? And this is a lawful legal argument for each state. It's a state law, not a federal law. So anyways, and again, whether you agree with my statements or not, do your own research, fact find, come up with your own conclusion. If you believe that I am wrong in anything, you can always send me the information. Please send information, not your opinion, to Bullhorn Betty. You can send your perspective. I will definitely look at your perspective, but I'd like it supported by something, right? But if you ever do have anything where I'm wrong on, you can always send your information to bullhornbetty@gmail.com, and I'm happy to present it on my show, so at least your side is presented, and I'll explain whether I agree with it or disagree with it and why. So again, you can send that to bullhornbetty@gmail.com, bullhornbetty@gmail.com. It's nice to see you, Oakley, Big Mac Mike, dreaming of blue skies and sandy beaches, and all the people that are going to be coming back for the replay crew. I'm sorry we had to roll early here on the Bullhorn Betty channel, but today's Delilah's day. It's one of the days that I run all day long. So my Saturdays, my Tuesdays, and my Thursdays are usually running all day long. So we're going to have to make sure we have an evening show. So I'm going to start preparing my weeks a little better. So we make sure that we don't leave you guys behind or leave the information behind. So if you guys have not subbed up to Bullhorn Betty, please consider subbing up to Bullhorn Betty. If you would like to help this show grow, you can simply hit the like button, that thumbs up button, if you got some information out of the show, or you can share it, or you can do both, right? Like and share. We would like you to like, share, and subscribe, right? And if you'd love to do more, which is never required, but always appreciated, you can support this channel by a variety of ways, from memberships to cash apps to super chats to however you want to support this show. Maybe we'll even allow you to buy me a coffee. I don't know. I haven't signed up for that yet, but who knows? Who knows? We'll see where this all goes. But guys, I want you to have an amazing Saturday. We will be back tonight. I'm not putting my live on until I know when I can go live. So it's going to be one of those things where it pops up live, and within 15 minutes, we're going to be going live. So if you haven't set your bell to all, you might want to set your bell to all, especially if you like the content coming from Bullhorn Betty, because you just never know when I'm going to pop up. All right, guys, rock it out with your coffee beans out. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe, but more importantly, kind to one another. God bless.